almost on a weekly or monthly basis all the time. But basically, this property, the owner bought it and it had a little bit of issue of permitting, I believe it is. They did some work without permits, so you got right there a little order to stop order and stuff like that. I'm not going to show you exactly because it has specific details of the property. Here you have your living room area. This house is it's very dated. You can see the popcorn seating and the trim on the top. These walls, I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard to see, but it's kind of like a vinyl on top of it. It's not a smooth texture or plaster or anything like that or drywall. It's a vinyl covering on top, and whoever decided it was a good idea to paint over it, they just thought it would be cheaper than just to remove it, repair the walls, and repaint the walls again. You have all your 80s and 90s looks here all in one. You have the sink-in living room area space with all these cracked tiles. So, you know, it has some work to be done. That glass sliding door, which I really don't like. They're not very secure for properties. We usually, when we need to get into a property, that's kind of our point of entry. As you can see, the only thing that's holding this door open, shut, closed, is that wood covered in carpet. So that's something that needs to be corrected and fixed. The AC seems to be cooling. It looks like it's a newer unit, as I can see through the window here. That's also a good idea to have because, you know, especially with this heat in Miami, it's really hard to, you know, ask a tenant to hold a day or two to get an AC fix. So if the AC is really well kept or a newer model, that's a plus with us actually. It avoids headaches. You got a double car garage door. You got your newer water heater, some washer and dryer. The AC, like I said, it looks like it's been changed recently in the past couple of years. So I don't think we should have much of a problem with it. You got some personal items here, which we'll probably have to throw out. I tend to, when I do an inspection, I come to the left and I just walk around the whole house following my left always, so I can make sure I capture everything. This is I guess they're having plumbing issues, so they removed that drywall looks fairly new. They removed the counters, the cabinets, so they're doing a little bit of work here, but I guess they got shut down without any permits being pulled, so that's not really the best way to do things because you're almost on a main highway and you're trying to do construction. Any debris anybody leaves outside, the city will catch on and take a look at it and start, you know, investigating. And you don't want those crosshairs on you, especially when you're a new investor. If you're a seasoned investor, then you know you might be able to work on getting away without having to pull permits here and there. But you know, it's always good to pull permits for everything. As you can see, the walls are in decent shape. It does need some touch up. I don't know if you can see the staining here and there. It's kind of hard with this beige to tell, but and it's also hard to notice that there's a bit of a smell in this house due to the carpets. It's usually that carpet smell. This sliding door is also looks like it needs to be adjusted or repaired. It has a nice pool in the back with a covered patio. It's missing the screen in the bottom portion there, and it's kind of wrinkled over there, so you probably have to restretch the screen a bit. Let's see. There's a big stain there. This whole wall. I don't like touching up on walls. I prefer painting wall to wall because even if you have the exact same color paint, due to the sunlight and stuff like that, it actually fades the paint. So even if you do have a exact color paint over a year, it's usually not gonna match up the same. So we tend to paint complete walls and stuff like that. And owners sometimes don't understand that, but we have to kind of educate them and explain to them that it's gonna look like a patchwork more than a complete job. And we don't like doing that whatsoever. Here you have the next bedroom, which I believe is the master. This whole house every bedroom needs a good carpet clean and a deep one too. None of that machine from Home Depot rental. No, you probably get a company out here to steam clean these things, and most likely it won't take away the smell, but it will improve. You have your master As you can see, everything is pretty much dated. You see these big windows, these glass mirror, got a little bit of track lighting here and there. So it's not bad, but the house, needs some love. As you can see, all the caulking work needs to be done, cleaned up. I like to check every single door, make sure everything's closing right, because after here I actually do an inspection report to advise what we're doing. Alright, so basically here we're gonna continue going. As you can see, I've always made a left into a room to make sure I don't miss anything. This house has 4 bedrooms and I believe 2 baths. So my total assessment right now, just seeing how the condition of the property is in okay condition. It's not ideal, but definitely manageable. It doesn't look like it's gonna be a big issue to manage a property like this. The only thing I need to figure out is the issue with the permitting and the plumbing, and find out what needs to be done to be able to cure that, because unfortunately with the city you do lose some time pulling permits, waiting for inspections. So I kind of like to give my clients a little bit of an idea of what time frame to expect, what we can do for them and stuff like that. So this one is going to probably give me a little more extra homework that I need to do to find out if it's a permit that it's going to take a long time. I probably won't sign a contract right now, but probably put a contingency that we'll start servicing the property with management services once the permit has closed and all the issues with the city has been resolved. I don't like getting tied up with a project, and especially in the beginning, I tend not to charge anything due to the fact that we are basically commission based. In other words, if the property is actually cash flowing is when we get paid. And if I have to spend 2 or 3 months coming over here on a weekly basis trying to do that, then it's not really profitable in a business sense. If they want to hire us to be able to help them out, then basically we'll start charging them a separate service fee to be able to handle things with the city, because that's actually outside of the normal scope of management services. If the property was actually in our hands and it's something that was neglected on our part, then yeah, we'll spend the time to actually resolve the situation with the city. But in this case, we're walking into a problem, an issue with the city, which I like to avoid at all costs as much as possible. But in overall, from a rating from 1 to 10, I'll put this as a 10 as being a great property to manage, all the way to 1 or 0 that I'll walk away from this. I'll put this around a 7 or 8. I am going to recommend paint. We have to look at check out the electrical, check out the plumbing, do a little bit of maintenance. We have to do something about those doors. What I can see is that those sliding doors are the old school doors, which are from the 60s, which they really don't make parts for them anymore. So we're gonna have to get a vendor out here that still probably has some old stock replacement parts for that. But in overall, the property is not in bad shape. It's in pretty good shape. I feel comfortable managing something like this once the permitting issues and the problems with the city has been resolved. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea that we actually don't collect contracts. Whenever somebody calls, I just don't make them, hey, sign a contract here and there. No, we actually do our own assessment. As they interview us for their management services, I tend to interview them and try to see if it's something that it's worth our while, because we lowered our fees as much as possible. And basically it has to be feasible for us to be able to make a profit as a business. So I kind of wanted to give you a glimpse of the inspections that we do, and hopefully this gives you guys a better idea of what to look for when you're actually looking and considering a client for and offering your management services to a new potential client. All right, well, thank you very much for viewing this video. We're going to try to be making a couple more videos on a daily basis, hopefully with what goes on with us and what do we do to be better property managers. Thank you again. Enjoy, and please subscribe. Thank you.